At this point, everyone has probably been telling you to transform your AI agency into an AI consultancy, and in 2026, that is the move. The issue with this is that no one's really mentioning how to actually go about the transformation and where do you even start. For many of you, you can build automations and AI systems all day long, but how do you actually go about consulting? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you the single most valuable thing you can set up today. Because when it comes to consulting, the entire game is how good your research is. And we're about to give Claude Code research superpowers by plugging it in with the Perplexity MCP. And by the end of the video, you're going to see exactly why we do this. There's one thing that isn't talked much about when it comes to AI consulting. And it comes down to this. Clients are not paying you to have opinions on their business. They're paying you to give them knowledge that they don't have, because the consultants that win have a better understanding of that business's operations than they do themselves. That's the whole edge. But back in the day, to get to that level, you needed days or weeks of constant research to understand everything that's going on. But now with the help of Claude Code and the Perplexity MCP, that's no longer the case. If you can compress that research down to minutes without losing any of the depth, you have an unfair advantage on your pitch and your deliverables. So that's exactly what we're going to set up. Let's get right into it. But before we do, if you use Claude Code, you're probably wondering why we even need Perplexity MCP to do research when Claude has built-in web scraping. And it's a fair question. Native web search within Claude Code does allow Claude to scrape the web, grab pages and links and so on, but it reads them one at a time, which is totally fine for a quick lookup. But when you're doing real research, that's a different animal, and it takes three things to do it. The first is going to be citations that you can actually defend in front of a client. The second is going to be synthesis across all sources at once, not just looking at one page at a time. The third is going to be depth, where Claude continues to dig and dig and dig until it has a genuine answer to the problem that we're trying to solve. And that's exactly what Perplexity's research engine is built for. It searches, it reads across everything, and then it returns synthesized and sourced answers. Just to be clear, Claude is still your main guy. It's the one with the big brain, it's the one that does the thinking. But when you give it that Perplexity MCP, you're giving it research superpowers, and by combining both, you're creating a different beast. So let's first tackle setting up the Perplexity MCP with Claude, which will only take about a minute. If you come into Perplexity's docs by going to docs.perplexity.ai, you can see that they have the Perplexity MCP server page. And this walks you through exactly how to set it up, and there's many ways to go about it. If you're a VS Code user, you can simply just install it right into VS Code by clicking this button here. But for the sake of it, I'm just going to show you how to get Claude to set it up for you. And to do that, we're just going to scroll down to the manual setup, and you're going to see the manual configuration right here that we can simply just copy. Now within VS Code or wherever you like to run Claude Code, just open up a new chat, and you can see I'm in a brand new directory. So Claude has never been run through this directory before, and I'm just going to paste in the code that we just copied. And then all I'm going to say is this: I want to configure the Perplexity MCP to this project. I've attached a configuration needed, and I want it to create a .env file where we can paste our Perplexity API key to actually connect our account. Now all we need to do is send it off. Now, while that's cooking, we can actually go grab our Perplexity API key. And to do that, we're simply going to come to console.perplexity.ai, and you'll see that you can grab a new API key in the left side tab bar at the bottom. Just click on API key. You can press generate new API key, give it a name, and then it will output the key. All right, so now that Claude is done, you can see that if we open the .mcp, this is exactly what Perplexity's docs told us to paste into it, right? So Claude already configured that for us. Now all we need to do is open our .env, and you can see that we just need to paste our API key that we just generated right here. I'm simply just going to copy this key. We'll go back into VS Code, and we'll simply just paste it right here. Make sure that you save this file before exiting it out. And now Claude has everything it needs to actually call on the MCP. Now there is an important note that we need to go over, because Perplexity API costs money. But as you can see, if we come into the pricing, it is ridiculously cheap. So even just loading 20 bucks or 10 bucks onto your account will last you a very long time. And to do that, you simply just come into the billing section. You can add your card info, load in some credits, and then you'll be all set up. Now, as with all MCP configurations, you do need to restart Claude Code for it to actually load in. So let's go ahead and do that now. All right, so I just gave VS Code a reset. So now if we simply type /MCP, you'll see that all of our MCP servers will pop up, and here's our new one, which is already connected, Perplexity MCP. And just like that, we've already gone through the entire setup. So now let me show you how to actually use this. But before I do, I just want to bring up one thing really quick. When you're running these AI consulting jobs, it's actually much better to set up your own personal system that can run the entire audit end to end. And that's exactly what I've done on my end. So even though we've configured the Perplexity MCP, there's a lot more that can go into this system or into this project to make Claude top tier at running these audits and providing as much value as possible. So as you can see, here's the entire pipeline that I run. And of course, this system has many MCPs installed on top of Perplexity. For example, it has a Fireflies MCP, so it can go and grab the transcripts. It has the Google Workspace MCP, so it can create the nice slideshows, create the context docs. It can even go in and grab the pre-audit intake form information so it can use all that information when it's doing its research. And then as you can see, we have a /new audit command followed by a discover command. And then we have gate 1, which needs human approval before we actually dive into the research, which can take a while. We then score the research using an ICE framework, which is impact, confidence, and ease. So how much does this specific solution impact the business? How confident are we that it can actually work, and how easy it is to set up? Then we do some wireframing, which is pretty much giving a diagram to the system that we're actually building, and we use Draw with Claude Code to do this. I just dropped a video on how to actually do this, which I'll link up above. Then we pause for a brief. So this is where Claude comes back to us with all the information. We go through everything, make sure it's ready to move forward. And we do review, and then we do present approved, which allows Claude to actually make the slideshow and get everything ready to present to the client. So point being is that if you want to maximize how good you're actually doing on these audits and how much value you're actually providing, a whole system needs to be built around this, not just one MCP. It is safe to say that this is the most important feature in the entire system, because like I said, all consulting comes down to is how good your research is. And by the way, if you want to learn how to set up all those personal AI coding assistants, I teach it all in my free school community under the Mastering Claude Code course. I also teach you how to master AI fundamentals, which is extremely important for actually landing the deals and the consulting jobs. However, it's only temporarily free. So if you're seeing this and it's still free, I suggest you join now. All right. So like I said, typically when I'm running these audits or these consulting jobs, I do use my actual system that comes with a lot more than what we set up here. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to put myself in your shoes as if we've only set up the Perplexity MCP, and I'm going to show you how you can actually use it going forward. All right. So now let's hop into the demo. So first we got to do /clear to start a new session, which like I always say is very important when you're building with Claude Code, which you would learn about in my free school community. Now, nonetheless, we have our new session up, and typically when you're running the audit process with Claude, of course, you would have to have some sort of examination call prior to doing the research where you can actually ask questions to the client, find out information about the systems they're running, the problems they're having, that sort of thing. We're going to play out that scenario, of course. So what I've done is created a transcript.md. Now, for my auto audit system, I have the Firefly's MCP connected directly into it. So it can actually just go in, grab the transcript that matches the intake form and do all of that on its own. But for the sake of this, we're simply just going to paste in the transcript into a .md file and give Claude the path. All right, and here's the prompt we're going to go for. I want you to run an AI audit on this company. The discovery called transcript is right here. Read it, pinpoint where they're losing time and money, then use the Perplexity MCP to research the best fit fix for each. The exact tool or automation, the current pricing, whether it fits their situation, and cite the source for every recommendation. Give me the 5 high-value solutions I can present to the client to improve their operations. And now all we need to do is send this off. Claude's going to take its time to cook, dig into all the research, and come back to us when it has all 5 solutions figured out. So because this can actually take some time, sometimes it takes up to like 15, 20 minutes, you just let it run in the background, make sure you're being productive while Claude is cooking. You can work on some other stuff, whatever. But for the sake of this video, I'm just going to come back and we'll go through once it's actually done. All right, so after about 5 to 10 minutes, Claude is done. Let's see what it did. So as you can see, it started reading the full transcript, digested the entire call, set up its plan of action, right? So it's going to research the CRM system of record fit, pricing, that sort of thing, research the AI receptionist, the automated estimate follow-up approach, Google business profile, Claude system, and synthesize the 5 highest values into what it's about to output, right? So it did all its research with Perplexity, all down here, checked off everything on its list, and then we have our output right here. The AI Audit Summit Painters 5 highest value solutions, and this is for a painting company. So as you can see, it's literally telling us where Sam is losing time and money exactly. And by the way, all this stuff can be defined within your system, like how many outputs to return, the max output, how to order them, that sort of stuff. But let's see the solutions it came up with. So solution 1, give the business a single system of record. Drip Jobs. And Drip Jobs is like the painter CRM, right? But the best part about this is because it was using Perplexity, it was able to source every single piece of information that it actually researched. Because when you're presenting this information to the client, they're not just going to assume you know every single system that they use, every software that they use. Like I may have never heard of Drip Jobs, but I had to do my research to learn about it so that I can provide an accurate solution. And that's where the sourcing comes in, because when you're talking to the client about this information that you found, you have to be able to know where it came from. And then we got solution 2, so stop leaking his best leads by setting up an AI receptionist and a missed callback. Then solution 3 is setting up an automated estimate follow-up. And again, this can be an upsell that you do to the client. Like, hey, this needs a custom automation built for you through N8N, for example. We can actually take this on for you if you want me to quote you on that. And that's the best part about the consulting model, is the whole idea of running these audits is to continuously upsell the client, right? So that's how you're going to make your money. So when you do this audit and you find all these problems, some of them are going to need custom builds, and that's where you can come in and actually charge for those custom builds. Of course, on top of that, you can charge for the audit itself, but let's say you're just running a 1-hour examination call. It's just like a surface level audit. You can just give those for free and then upsell to a build, and that's where the money is going to be. Solution 4 is going to be fixing the marketing, so consolidate the Google profiles. And then the 5th one, we have the build a Claude brain, so N8N automation layer plus Claude API, and this is sort of going to tie everything together. It seems like this is sort of what he was after most based on the transcript. And then of course, Claude is coming back at us with suggested sequences, so how we should go about implementing each solution, what they should do on their end, and so on. Now the next step would be like creating some sort of project plan, a document, a slideshow that you can actually present, show some visuals, do some diagrams to show how these systems would work, and put it right in front of the client's face so they can see exactly what you can offer in terms of building. Or sometimes it's just solutions that already exist, and all they need to do is go sign up for a subscription on a tool that already exists, a SaaS, a software, whatever it is. And this will help them out without needing us to do any custom building. And honestly, if you lead with those, that's going to put the most trust in front of them, because you're literally telling them, hey, I just did this free audit for you. Here's some free value. You don't even need anything else from us. But if you do want these more advanced ones, these very custom ones, we can actually build those for you. That builds trust, and that helps lead to an actual build where they can sign on with you. And that's pretty much it. Like I said a few times throughout this video, you're much better setting up an entire auditing system using Claude Code to actually run these audits and run these consultancy jobs. But I just gave you one of the single most powerful tools you can set up right now to start doing this. And the system will evolve over time as you do more consultancy jobs. As Claude learns, you can build in learning loops so that it just gets better and better and better. Add more MCPs so that it has more access to tools that it can actually call on. But again, if you want to learn all about that, just tap that link in the description to join the school community. Hopefully you got some value out of this video. If you did, hit that like button and drop a sub, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.